Today we're going to talk about how technology in the world of online media has completely revolutionized and changed the entertainment game. We all know about Spotify and SoundCloud and things like that, but you're going to hear today from a real-life entertainer locally that performs regionally, Mr. Steve Fazzini.
Good morning.
On the DOYOLive Marketing Show. We're super stoked. Our new Fireside Chat series from Stonefruit. We got the fire going in the background. Maybe we'll try and make this a regular stop. Big shout out to Stonefruit Coffee for giving us a home today for the DOYOLive Marketing Show. Thank you, Mr. Steve Fazzini, for dropping by today, having a great conversation. We've got a whole entourage hanging out with us today off camera.
It's exciting, I tell you. We just got a lot going on here this morning.
We do, and we've got some fantastic coffee, so thank you, Josh, again.
This is the Frankenstein one.
I got Frankenstein, too, and I love it.
Delicious. Absolutely wonderful.
All right, Steve, so thank you for dropping by. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me aboard.
It's been, DOYOLive Marketing Show has been on and around for, oh my gosh, a year ago November, so I apologize for just getting you on now. If you're out and about
to be here
in Youngstown, Ohio, there's a good possibility that you've been to an event, whether it's an Italian fest, a wedding, a cocktail event, a networking type of environment. You've seen Steve Fazzini performing at that event. And you've been around now performing for how long?
About 10 years.
Give us a little context about how you got into the entertainment business.
Actually, I started out by singing at retirement homes. And the American Songbook is a genre of music that, if you've listened to Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Bobby Darin, a lot of those artists would use songs from what's called the American Songbook.
Yeah.
Which is like, a lot of those romantic songs, ballads, big band hits, and so forth.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the genre of music that I started performing at, like retirement homes, some parties, some weddings, and really just kind of fell in love with that genre of music. It's just a really nice sound, very nice lyrics, and just kind of got into learning how to sing that vocal style.
Okay.
So it really intrigued me. So I would just sit there at home, and at that time I was using a music service called Rhapsody.
Oh yeah, I remember Rhapsody.
Yeah, Rhapsody was big.
You know what? Rhapsody absolutely crushed an entire computer of mine because it was very susceptible to viruses.
Oh, okay.
And so I downloaded like a ton of this is right after Napster, and in between iTunes you had Rhapsody, and I got all this free music.
Yeah.
And then I also got my computer completely infected with a virus because it was very susceptible, and then next thing you know, but Rhapsody.
Yes. And so Rhapsody was so I just sit there and I would just listen to the singers and the vocalists.
Okay.
And because it was a different style of music to sing. So when I'd get kind of stuck on how to sing a certain song, I'd just go back and listen to one of the artists, and I'd just say, I really want to do a good job performing those types of songs. And so just practice and working at that, and then just from one event to another, just kind of build up an audience that way.
So now, but in that process of getting even the start into the retirement homes, you were doing a completely other trade before that.
Yes. Well, I grew up with my dad. My dad was a master craftsman. He was a cabinet maker, and so he had a cabinet shop in a little town called East Palestine.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In Ohio.
Yep.
And so he was there for many years, and he taught me a lot about the trades, and he would do remodeling, and so I picked up from him, and so that was a good experience to be in that line of work.
Yeah, no doubt. And then when you were doing that work, did you always have this vision that you'd be an entertainer that would be performing on a regular basis at some of the biggest events in Youngstown, Ohio?
No, at that time, you're just at that stage of your life, and so fast forward up to about 2007, 2008.
Okay.
That's when I was moving into the music field, and it's just been a really good experience. Like I said, I've had a music background. My dad was a guitar player at church, a bass guitarist.
Okay.
And my grandfather played the accordion. He played the harmonica. And coming from a large Italian family, of course, we always had Italian music.
Playing.
My dad actually was a big country and western guy. He loved, Hank Williams and Conway Twitty and all the stars from Nashville.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think it comes post World War II. My grandfather, on my dad's side, big John Wayne fan. Conway Twitty.
Love the John Wayne movies.
Like that
Green
was
Berets.
That's what we grew up on. Like the Duke and like all the cowboys and all the westerns that era presented. And then there was always Youngstown has had this long tradition of like Saturday morning. Various radio stations with polka and Italian and the Italian hour that you could just rotate through. That's a tradition amongst all households, I think, in this entire area. So you get you fast forward to today. Obviously, we've got this huge technological movement that has been going on it's the information age, right?
Yes.
How has technology, and more specifically things like YouTube or SoundCloud, impacted your business, your life, your entertainment, and what you do?
Those things have been great for musical artists. There's amazing musical talent on the internet, and ever since YouTube and those things came onto the scene, it's allowed artists a platform to get their music out there. Where previous to the internet, the traditional way was to try to go to Nashville or whatever and get a record deal. A lot of bands would do that, but now so many artists have broken into a great following, independent artists, so to speak, without record deals, have built wonderful musical careers because of the internet.
Yeah.
Their YouTube, you can go on YouTube, create a channel, and start putting your videos. And there's everything from a guy in his living room with an acoustic guitar on there to just amazing videos that people do with their music. Vimeo is another great platform to put your music out. That's another good technology that's available. As you mentioned, SoundCloud.
Yeah. I mean, so
Reverb Nation is another thing that comes to mind that people will be using for a while.
Yeah.
It seems like they're changing. Like some things are like really popular for a while.
Yes.
And then somebody else comes along with an app. Like I think there's, I want to say Band in Town or something now that's out there. There's another app that artists are starting to use to connect with each other. Or if you're a band and you're looking for a guitar player, let's say, you can go on that and you can try to find a musician that can audition for your band. And so, I mean, it's just opened up doors for people in the music trades to just get their material out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live Fireside Chat at Stonefruit Coffee in Boardman, Ohio. Having a great cup of coffee with Mr. Steve Fazzini. We are talking entertainment and all sorts of fun stuff. And, that's right. So here's what's interesting. The shiny new toy in the digital landscape is always, like, very interesting to people, but there's tried and true methodologies along the way. And what I mean by that is that it feels like YouTube, obviously 2007, it's like YouTube's here. YouTube's big. Let's do YouTube. And then everybody kind of, like, moved on to YouTube, to doing things like here on Facebook Live or SoundCloud, and there's been other things that have come along the way that you can very easily upload information or video or recorded sound or podcast into an application that has a built-in community, and then they find you based off search. But then all of a sudden now it's like everybody's like, oh, wait a minute, YouTube's still cool. YouTube's still a viable resource. So being consistent on those platforms, to me, and leveraging them is a really great opportunity. And we were talking off camera before we started, is that you have an event coming up in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes.
What is that?
The Hemophilia organization in Louisville has an event every year. They raise money for that cause. Okay. And so for about 4 years I've been able to be a part of that, go down and do some performing. They have another band that comes in and also performs, and it's just a great event, a great fundraiser for them, great group of people behind all that, and so I'll be down in Louisville on the 24th, and looking forward to that event again.
Now, how did you get that? I mean, we're like kind of setting this one up, but I mean, really, like at the end of the day, like
it's just Google, Google searches. People go on looking for a vocalist, a singer, and they've got an event coming up. They want a certain style of sound or certain performer, and they'll just go and do this Google search and see what search results, and then that usually leads to your website. you know, I have a storefront page on Wedding Wire, so sometimes having your own website is good, but sometimes if you're on another organization like Wedding Wire or Gig Masters, they've got a much stronger SEO presence. So so you'll benefit from their placement.
Let's talk about Wedding Wire. What's Wedding Wire for those of us that don't know?
Wedding Wire is a great resource for people that are getting married, that need a florist, that need a photographer, that need a DJ, a band, and then a lot of the people that are getting married, they'll go on there and create a Wedding Wire account, and they'll just say, I'm looking for a band, you know, and then they can go to the bands that have a storefront on Wedding Wire and watch video, listen to songs, and then if they find someone on there they're interested in, they can contact them. So
dude, that's super helpful
to
this
way to go shopping
audience,
basically.
Very specifically. So now, if you are obviously planning a wedding, getting married, that sort of thing, the way that apps and communities work is that you have to have an equal amount of people on both sides, right? You need to have the people that are the consumers and the buyers, and they find, you know, and the wedding industry is a huge industry, and on the other side you have the people that do the business and support the wedding industry.
Yes.
So what you're saying is this, is that if you're in the wedding, if you do business in the wedding industry, if you're a florist to food to print to caterer to card to entertainers, you can list yourself?
Yeah, you have a storefront page as a vendor, as a service provider, and then people can find you and you make a contact with your client then. And
monthly fee to be on that?
There's a monthly. You sign like an annual contract.
Okay.
And that's your storefront space. So you can have a free account, and but the paid accounts you get much better placement in the search results. Then like you're guaranteed to show up on the first page per se.
And do you see yourself getting business from that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of leads come into that. I've got weddings because of have a page on the Knot.
So now the Knot is obviously it's established. It's been around for a considerable amount of time. Again, another opportunity for a wedding directory, if you will, to get found. And now, what's the content generally that when you have your storefront, what's generally the content that you have found that you put onto these different mediums that work for you? Can you put video, pictures?
Yeah, you can do video, photographs. Then you can have a link to your website so they can go and listen to your song samples.
Wow. And they give you the analytics behind that too, a little bit to see.
Yeah, their support is good. They can show you how many people visited your storefront, how many people clicked through from the from their storefront to your website, and so on. And then of course the potential clients can contact you, send you a message.
That's an incredibly powerful tool.
It is a great tool.
So now, what was you said Wedding Wire and Gig
Masters?
A little broader?
Gig Masters is more not just for weddings, and it's more specifically for musicians. You know, so that's another place where
how's that one work?
It's kind of like Wedding Wire, but not so much like for the wedding market only. It's going to be more geared for weddings, parties, anniversary parties, corporate events.
Okay.
Restaurants that are looking for entertainment go on there. Like
they post that.
You have a coffee house like here, and you're looking for some entertainers.
Okay.
You can go to Gig Masters and say, you know, I'm looking for a singer-songwriter guy. You know, and there's categories where you can go on to the different artists that have a storefront on Gig Masters, and it works the same way, like a place to shop for musical talent.
How much of your time do you think that you have to spend managing that? Meaning that, like, you know, you have to fill out the registration, but then you got to support it with a little bit of content as well. But how much time after beyond that, once you've got some general maintenance?
Yeah, once it's up and running, you know, you can upload it with some new photographs. You can utilize it that way. So it depends how much time you have or how much time you want to spend.
Okay.
You know, so you've got your own website. You might have your Facebook page. Then you've got your, if you're into the Gig Masters, the Wedding Wire, the Knot, you're gonna go on those pages and do some maintenance and keep things fresh on there with some photographs or because people are always on there. They're always looking.
It's such a smart play too, because of the fact that number one, like, you don't want to be everywhere poorly. But the fact of the matter is that they operate very similarly. So now you're listing yourself in these different areas to get found. Because back 10 years ago, the Yellow Pages would call you up and say, Steve, would you like a Yellow Page listing for the year? Right. We can do a block ad, and you'll show better, or you could just do your listing. Right. And now you fast forward to 2018, and here's how people are doing business, especially in this demographic. The people that are doing the weddings and planning the weddings, they generally, a lot of them don't even live here. Yeah. But they're coming back here to get married, that sort of thing. Now, those are awesome opportunities to connect, and I commend you for that, and jumping on that. It's all self-educated, self-taught.
It's a learning experience. It's just one thing about the internet so cool. It's like you're always learning something new. You get a lot of inspiration by watching what other people do.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch YouTube videos of musicians from back in the day because I'm into the vintage type sounds. I like the old school. And so it's just so much fun to be able to have that as a resource to go on and watch people perform, get tips from them as far as stage presence, presentation.
Yeah.
It's great. You go on there and just listen to songs, and it's very inspiring.
I've been doing that too. Like, I do that. Like, I look at, I like going back and looking at some old, I don't want to say old, vintage. You call it vintage marketing, right? And like last year, we took the kids down to, 2 years ago, we went down to the Smithsonian. Or we went down to Washington, D.C. We blew through the Smithsonian, and we blew through the Aeronautics, Aviation Smithsonian. And there's all this stuff on all these old planes. And it's just really cool. Like, people are just like, oh, look at the plane. And I'm looking at the logos on the old, on Eastern Airlines that no longer exist. And even before that, just seeing like how marketing looked and the lettering and things like that, and I could really appreciate that and try and bring that back to 2018.
Yeah, if I said plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
I think we need to bring back the jingles.
Yeah, the jingles. Marketing. Music is such a key part to marketing, and music is a part of all of our lives. That's one reason I love music so much, is because there's so many different styles. And it has an emotional impact. You can be a little bit down or whatever, and you put on your favorite song. It brings back a memory. It's that sound canvas. I love. I'm just throwing out all kinds of free plugs here, but XM Radio. Big huge fan. I started using that in the last year and a half, and I just absolutely love Sirius XM because you can find your channel on there, and as soon as you hear the song, it's like, oh, I haven't heard this song for so long. What a cool song. And I just, as a musician, I'm listening to the mix, like listening to that bass line. That was really cool.
Well, last night we were playing NBA 2K in the basement.
Yeah.
On Xbox. And when it starts up, they had some hip hop from Eric B. and Rakim. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna break that out anytime soon at one of the next Steve Fazzini shows. Well, Steve Fazzini, logo entertainer. We are live. Fireside Chat.
Morning,
look over the shoulder. Fireside Chat from Stonefruit Coffee, Boardman, Ohio. Having a good time, talking about all sorts of good stuff. Entertainment. The entertainment game has changed. Steve just dropped some serious knowledge bombs on the fact of how, if you're in the wedding industry, wedding business, that you can go out there and you can list yourself on a lot of these different applications to get yourself found. Bergen Giordani, thank you for dropping by. You are one hot cookie. Thank you so much for all that you do. Dr. Mike, what's up, buddy? And Doug Holbert, year-long sponsor for DOYOLive, integrated IT group out of Talmadge, Ohio. And Steve, I'm also repping, talking about free plugs, I'm repping some Youngstown Clothing Company gear.
Yes.
They hooked me up, and you can get it actually here at Stonefruit Coffee as well.
Awesome.
But in any case, we want to thank Stonefruit for giving us a home today. So, awesome stuff on the advice. Do you think that with all these different listing sites that you could get away without having a website, or do you see the fact that you've got a website that it also helps to add to your credibility as an entertainer and gives you the ability to be able to get some businesses as well?
I like myself.
You're fine. Come on over. You're good.
Myself personally, I like having my own website just because it's your domain. You have complete control over that. It's up to you how much money you want to invest in your SEO, your placement. But it's kind of like your own corner to just have complete control over in terms of at least the content and where you can just, it's kind of a place.
Jay, thank you for dropping by. Cheryl as well. So here's what
I suppose there's people that don't have their own website and they do just great without one. So
no, here's what I want to tell you though is that I do think that you need to have a website as a storefront because you own the property and because and here's the other thing.
Just to have a domain, I think your own domain is cool.
You're not going to do anything too controversial to get kicked off the not.com. But the reality is this: is that you're on the not.com, and if they decided for some reason or other tomorrow that they don't want you on the platform, they could take you off of that. Because you're renting space on right, and so you own your domain, you own your email list, and the other thing that it makes complete sense to do as well is that the not.com, Wedding Wire, these sites are reputable sites. They have a lot of traffic, and from a search engine optimization, search engine organic. We get a little bit too nerdy with that stuff, but the bottom line is this: if you're linking your information from the Knot over to your website, you get attribution points. SEO recognizes the quality of that link from Knot to you, and the amount of traffic that they get. That also has a compounding effect, interest effect to your website. So that's a great. Smart play.
What's nice about the website too, when you have your own, is you can choose what colors you want. When you're on Wedding Wire or the Knot, you're basically going to be part of their landscape. So you're going to like your Facebook page. You're limited in terms of how the appearance can be.
Right. When
you have your own website, you can have whatever colors you want. Based on maybe how much money you've spent in that technology, but you have more. You can personalize it more, I suppose, when you have your own space.
Cheryl's on. She says, "We love you, Steve."
Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Good morning. Great to have you part of the show.
If you stick around long enough, we'll probably do a duet today.
We're gonna. What are we gonna say?
That will actually be a DOYOLive Marketing Show first. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by. We're live at Stonefruit with Mr. Steve Fazzini. I wanted to just not get into it, but I wanted to tease a little bit. You've got some projects that you're working on that we don't want to give away the keys of the kingdom, but you do have some things that you're working on back at your office,
I was
studio.
I was up till 4:15 a.m. painting the walls at my upcoming studio in Boardman. Very excited about that, and so picked out some nice colors of paint, and just it's coming together. So we're working on a renovation of that space right now, and getting ready to do something with it, so it's exciting. It's coming up. It's going to be a place to do recording and some music clinics, and I'm very interested in helping younger artists get their music established, maybe consulting them and giving them some ideas and a place to create some sounds. And I'm a big collaborator. Working with other, there's just so much phenomenal musical talent right here in Youngstown. Great musicians I've had the privilege to work with, and we just have fun creating music. There's a lot of great bands in Youngstown. So Youngstown, for being a smaller location's got great musical things happening here.
Well, hey, Fortunato, thank you for dropping by. Yes,
Fortunato, we got an Italian on board.
So now it's like Fortunato was on, I think, 2 weeks ago. So now this is becoming like the Italian hour.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Beautiful. That is beautiful.
Is that all right?
That is fantastic.
All right. I tried to order some calamari down there. It's not happening at the Stonefruit yet. We might get that on the menu.
And all right. So two more things. We're gonna talk a little bit about that historical perspective as well. This was a huge stopover. The Idor Park Ballroom. Many of the concert halls that we had were the biggest names in the business.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, well, back in the day, I still have people once in a while come up and say, You know, Bobby Darin used to sing somewhere on the east side of Youngstown back in the day. He stopped through. Sinatra was in Youngstown. A lot of the artists back in the 40s, 50s, there were some, you know, the Paramount Theater was downtown.
Yep.
They had shows there. So Youngstown was kind of that stopover, probably on the band circuit, because between Cleveland and Pittsburgh, Akron, they could make a stop in Youngstown and do a show.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's do this. We're going to get into rapid fire questions. We do this all the time on the DOYOLive Marketing
fire.
Show.
Get ready.
Gentle. It's the easiest thing you're going to do all week. And it's
Put on
Friday.
your seatbelts. Here we go.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
What's on your desktop? On your
As far as what's on my desktop, as far as apps,
yeah,
Spotify, iTunes.
okay. Picture? Any pictures? Fam, music?
A lot of my wife is a huge photography person as far as creating those memories. So
Yeah.
she handles a lot of the family photography, and then I just have her send me the links and put those on my Facebook page.
All right. It's Sunday morning. You're waking up to a cup of coffee. Are you grabbing your iPad or your computer and reading things on your Flipboard, or are you grabbing the newspaper?
I like to just watch the news in the morning, and then of course, like I said, big fan of YouTube videos. Go see what the headlines are, see what's happening. Yep.
By the way, this coffee's amazing.
I love it.
I hate to take a pause.
The Frankenstein blend is happening. It's good.
All right. This will be the second most controversial question that I ask on the DOYOLive Marketing Show today.
Okay.
Best pizza in Youngstown?
Hard to say.
Nobody likes to answer that question,
More
by the way.
plugs. I'm a big fan of Wedgwood Pizza, Westgate Pizza, and Avalon Gardens.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. In the perfect world, would you rather, I mean, you want to be the first Steve Fazzini, but would you rather be Dean or Frank?
I like Dean Martin's vocal. I think his style. I guess you had to come down between the two styles. I've kind of blended my singing, just listening to all the different singers. So I think Dean Martin had a nice because of his association with Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Growing up watching the Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis movies, that was always just so much fun. And he seemed like he had just a really cool career because of the movies that he was in, the westerns. I mean, he has such an expansive range.
See, okay.
And his singing style, he went into genres that Sinatra didn't do. Country music,
Yeah.
Of course the Italian. So he seemed like he had maybe just a little more diversity and variety.
Yeah.
So that's always appealing to me when an artist has a wide span of genres that they do.
Yeah.
So I guess that's in a nutshell why.
So if I'm leaning towards the answer, I'm hearing it's Dean.
Dean Martin's, his
Steubenville, Ohio guy too.
Steubenville, Fallsby, that whole area.
I tend to look at it this way: the burden of being Frank, right, or the levity of being Dean. It's almost like the King and the Prince, right?
A lot of comedy with Dean Martin.
Tons of comedy.
I mean, he had the Dean Martin roasts.
Yeah,
they were huge. I mean, those like I said, he was just an admirable guy in terms of his career.
So
what he did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the last question I have is that you've been around for a while, both entertainment and then obviously from the previous life. What's the best business advice you either received or you give?
My feeling is that just be true to what you feel called to do. Be yourself. Be real. Be genuine. Don't be afraid to take risks, and also, if you want to grow your business, give to others. I mean, be someone who's paying it forward, but be willing to take someone under your wing and share and contribute. I think that sometimes in business, people are like very competitive. I mean, there is going to be a level of competition, but just be a giving person. Be willing to share your knowledge with others, because it will come back to you. Big fan of the scriptures, and it says, the more that you give, it will come back to you, pressed down, shaken together. So just be a giving person, and be willing to sow some good seed into other people's lives.
Steve, appreciate you being on the DOYOLive Marketing Show.
Thank you for having me, Dennis.
Yeah, you got it, man.
This was a fun experience.
We've got early bird tickets on sale for DOYOLive in 2018. August 1st and 2nd. We're getting ready next month, just in a couple weeks away from now. We have our keynote speaker. I'm not announcing that today, but we will in a couple of weeks. We are narrowing down our breakout session leaders, so coming back with a very talented group of people. We had 60 people, which is very humbling to see 60 people actually submitted to be a breakout session leader at DOYOLive for 10 spots. We had people from California, Canada, all over the state of Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, submitting to present. So that's
great.
It's pretty cool that that's happening. Those tickets are $150. Tremendous value. They go up on April 30th, so you still have time. You probably want to wait and see who's speaking at DOYOLive, which I get. And we are also going to, we've finalized our venue for 2018. Not announcing that today. I think that we call that a tease as well. Just giving you a glimpse, and we're going to make those big announcements here in the next couple weeks. Thank you, Steve, for dropping on by.
You're
Check
welcome.
out SteveFazzini.com.
SteveFazzini.com.
SteveFazzini.com. You got a wedding, you got a party, you got a professional networking event, you've got a baptism, a birthday. You want this guy to show up and sing some of the A Great American Songbook.
Music.
You want to take us on out?
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore. It's all about love.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll see you, everybody.
Have a great day, everybody.